Hello, everyone. Welcome to our second lecture on verbal aptitude, where we would be discussing the phrases, clauses, sentences, and words. So to begin with, phrases, as I explained last time, they are classified according to the function they perform in the sentence, right? So for example, if a phrase performs the function of a noun, it's called the noun phrase. Okay, so as we can see on the slide, the example, a thing of beauty is a joy forever. Now, a thing of beauty here indeed performs the work of a noun, right? So it's a noun phrase. Adjective phrase, and a phrase where, a phrase which does the work of an adjective, that is, defines the noun, right? It was a scene of great beauty. So how was the scene? The scene was of great beauty. It defines the scene. The great beauty here defines the scene. The red dress looked stunning, right? So what dress? The red dress, right? It defines the noun again. The red dress looked stunning. Now we have adverb phrases that form the function of an adverb, that is, they qualify the verb. We play tennis in the evening. So when do we play tennis? We play in the evening. So it qualifies the verb here, adverb phrase, right? It adds to it. Now, we have sentences, simple, compound, and complex sentences, as we already know. So simple sentence has only one subject and one predicate, and it has only one finite verb, right? Whereas a compound sentence is the sentence that is made up of two or more coordinate clauses. That is, it's made up of two or more coordinate clauses, which are then joined by conjunctions. And we'll see this further in the slides. And complex sentences is the sentence where there's a principal clause and one or more subordinate clauses. That is, there's a principal clause and there are one or more clauses that are dependent on the principal clause, without which they won't have a meaning, right? So for example, she plays the guitar. So obviously one subject, she plays the guitar. Yeah, is the predicate. So she plays the guitar. We won the match. We is the subject, won the match is the predicate. I worked at Chennai. I am the subject, worked at Chennai is the predicate, right? So, and now for the examples of compound sentences where we have one or more, where we have two or more coordinate clauses that are joined by conjunctions. He plays basketball, but she prefers hockey. So he plays basketball, that is a sentence on its own. She prefers hockey is a sentence on its own. Now we have combined these two sentences and we have formed, so we have combined these two coordinate clauses by a conjunction, and we have formed a compound clause, right? I have never been to Kashmir, nor have I been to Kanyakumari. Here also, two coordinate clauses have been joined by the conjunction nor, right? Looking at the examples of complex sentences, however, we all know that smoking is injurious to health. So we all know that smoking is injurious to health. There's a principal clause we all know. What do we all know? That smoking is injurious to health. So smoking is injurious to health. Because I worked all day, I wanted to have food and sleep. So I wanted to have food and sleep is the principal clause, and because I worked all day is the dependent clause. So we have principal clause and dependent clause in complex sentences, as we have seen already. Now we would be moving ahead to discuss clauses. What, according to you, is a principal clause? Obviously, a group of words that contains a subject and a verb and expresses a complete thought, right? It can stand by itself as a complete sentence. It can stand by itself. It doesn't need anything else. It has a subject and a verb. It expresses a complete thought, basically. Coordinate clause, so each of the two or more parts of a sentence, often joined by certain conjunctions that make separate statements that each have equal importance. For example, as we discussed before, right? That, he prefers cricket, but she prefers hockey. So he prefers cricket as a sentence on its own. She prefers hockey as a sentence on its own. But we have combined the two. He prefers cricket, but she prefers hockey. We have combined it by the conjunction but. And here also, as we can see, it rained and the lights went out. It rained is a proper statement on its own. The lights went out is a proper sentence on its own. But when we combine them with the conjunction and, it forms a coordinate clause. Now, subordinate clause or dependent clause. A group of words that is not a sentence, but adds information to the main part of the sentence. Right? So this dependent clause, subordinate clause, it adds information to the main part of the sentence. So for example, we all know smoking is injurious to health. We all know here, the phrase we all know. That is a dependent clause because it has no meaning until it's said that smoking is injurious to health. Smoking is injurious to health is the principal clause. We all know is the dependent clause. Right? Okay. So moving ahead to compound sentences. As we have seen before, it's made up of two independent clauses or complete sentences connected with a coordinating conjunction. Now, there's a way to remember these coordinating conjunction. So it's an acronym called fanboys, which gives you a set of prepositions which these independent clauses or coordinate clauses could be joined by. So it stands for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. So, these are the set of conjunctions that can be used to combine two separate complete sentences or two independent clauses to form a compound sentence. For example, if I say, I woke up early, yet went late to the office. So, I woke up early is a sentence on its own. I went late to the office is a sentence on its own. And yet has joined the two. Right? I'm not interested in watching a movie, nor I'm interested in playing cricket. So I've joined these two sentences that I'm not interested in watching a movie and I'm not interested in playing cricket. I've joined these sentences by nor. Right? So it's important to remember these conjunctions and how to coordinate clauses or independent clauses can be joined by these conjunctions to form a compound sentence. Complex sentence. It may have two or more than two subordinate clauses. Right? So there's a principal clause, there's one principal clause, and more than one subordinate clauses. It can be, okay, one has to be there. It could be more than one, more than two, whatever. Right? So yeah, principal clause, subordinate clause, as can be seen in the tables very well. Compound sentence. Compound sentence may contain two coordinate clauses, as we have seen before. That is, I don't want to play cricket, nor do I want to play football. So there are two coordinate clauses, two simple sentences that have been joined by the word nor to form a compound sentence. Now here, each clause may be a simple sentence. Each of the coordinate clauses may be a simple sentence. One clause may be a complex sentence and other simple. Right? One clause may be a complex sentence and the other could be simple. Both clauses could also be complex sentences. Both clauses could also have a principal clause and a subordinate clause, which are then joined by the conjunction. Right? So that should be remembered. Three coordinate clauses. Of course, that's possible. Right? So compound sentence, as I've discussed before, it could have two coordinate clauses. One could be a complex sentence, one could be a simple sentence. A complex sentence means obviously a principal and subordinate clause. These are just tables to remember what we have already discussed before. So here we have talked about that the both sentences could be complex sentences, each having a principal clause and subordinate clause. Right? So now let's discuss further. Actually, I think we should go and have a look at some questions once we look at these examples, right? So Rishabh slept off very late. He couldn't get up timely. So we are combining these two independent clauses which have meanings of their own to form a compound sentence. Rishabh slept off late, but he couldn't get up timely. You combined it with the conjunction but. Now we can add a dependent clause to this compound sentence to create a compound complex sentence. So what do we add? Because Rishabh partied all night, which has no meaning of its own, it is a dependent clause. Because Rishabh partied all night, he slept off very late and couldn't get up timely. So that now is a compound complex sentence because it's complex sentence as it has because Rishabh partied all night, he slept off very late. So that is a complex sentence. He could not get up timely is a simple sentence. We combined them, we created a compound complex sentence. Right? So now we have a few questions and we have to tell whether these are compound sentences or complex sentences. Right? So the city in which he lives is very polluted. So the city in which he lives is very polluted. Clearly, there's a principal clause, there's a dependent clause, and that makes it a complex sentence. He both thanked me and rewarded me. So here we have he thanked me, he rewarded me. We've combined both the two independent clauses to form a compound sentence. Whatever you do with passion. Again, there's a dependent clause and a principal clause here, which makes it a complex sentence. When the phone rang, I was in the classroom. When the phone rang is dependent on I was in the classroom, the principal clause. So makes it a complex sentence again. I do not know where he went. Again, a complex sentence. Where he went has no meaning of its own. When I reached the airport, the boarding gate had closed. So it has a principal clause, a subordinate clause. When I reach the airport is dependent on the boarding gate. I mean, the dependent clause here, the boarding gate had closed is the principal clause here. So here we get a complex sentence. The wind blew, the tree fell, and the wire got cut. These are three separate sentences that have been combined with the conjunction and. That makes it a compound sentence. The answers to these have been given in the next slide, which you can obviously see. Now comes the most awaited topic from which we have a lot of questions in the examination as well, especially in GATE and even a lot of other examinations with verbal ability. Okay, so words are classified according to their use or according to the work they do in a sentence. Right, here we have 8 classes of words that are called the parts of speech. And they are noun, pronoun, adjective, verb, adverb, preposition, conjunction, interjection. Today, we would be discussing the first 5 set of these parts of speech. We would be discussing noun, pronoun, adjective, verb, adverb today. Or maybe only till verb, we'll see according to the time, according to what the time permits. So noun. A noun is the name of a person, place, thing, or an idea. Right? A person, place, thing, or an idea. For example, we say, Srimati Draupadi Murmu is our president. Srimati Draupadi Murmu is our president. So here, the name of the president is the noun. Paris is the capital of France. So here we have two places, Paris and France, both of them being nouns. Can you pass me the book? Can you pass me what? The book. It's a particular thing that is being talked about. It's a thing that is being talked about. So here, yeah, that is the noun. Honesty is the best policy. Honesty is the idea that is being talked about, the thought that is being discussed. Honesty is the best policy. So honesty is the noun. Here I have examples of persons, place, things, and ideas that could be used as nouns. It's very easy. Speak up any sentence and we should be able to identify the noun in that if it's a person, place, thing, or an idea, right? So we have things like key, phone, bus, bread, pencil, comb, there's so many things. Ideas, kindness, justice, honesty, greed, democracy, love, sustainability, there are so many ideas that exist in our daily life. Love is an idea, democracy is an idea. Again, all those dictatorship, monarchy, all of these are ideas. Pronoun. Pronoun is a word used for a noun. It helps us to avoid the repetition of noun in the same piece of writing. For example, if I say, Mike loves his sister, but she does not like him. So Mike loves his sister, but she does not like him. Here we don't need to say Mike loves his sister, but his sister does not like Mike. So we are not repeating Mike and the sister again and again. We're just saying Mike loves his sister, but she doesn't like him. Where is my bag? My bag is on the table. Where's my bag? It is on the table. So it is replacing my bag, right? So here we have used all of the italicized and italicized and colored words in place of a noun. Okay. An adjective is a word which modifies or qualifies a noun. That is, it adds the meaning to the meaning of noun and pronoun, a word that describes a person or a thing or gives extra information about them, right? So we just talked about nouns. Now we would be discussing an adjective that adds to the meaning of nouns or pronouns for that matter. For example, I bought a black dress for the New Year party. Now, it has to qualify the noun. So, black dress. Black here is an adjective. Amy is an intelligent girl. Now here, intelligent qualifies the noun Amy. The pasta is delicious. Delicious qualifies the noun pasta. I am taller than you. Now here, taller. The verb tall. That is actually a verb, definitely. Taller is a verb, right? Now, this taller defines me. So, takes the form of an adjective here, right? So, adjectives usually come before nouns or after link verbs. For example, here, I am, taller comes after am. So, yeah. So a, and the are also adjectives. These adjectives are called articles. For example, an intelligent girl. So an intelligent on the whole is an adjective. I bought a black dress, a black. Okay, black here is an adjective. So we should keep that in mind, should keep practicing a lot of sentences and getting to know what an article is, why we use certain articles at certain places that we would discuss again further. But for now, you should be able to identify nouns, pronouns, and adjectives, right? Now, verb. A verb is a word that says something about a person, place, or a thing, right? It expresses action. Every sentence must contain a verb. That is significant, utmost important to being a sentence. it has to have a verb. For example, he is a consultant. Here is the verb. I was really worried about you. Was is the verb. Dr. Park overcame the crisis. So, overcome is the verb used in its past tense, overcame. I discussed questions with you. So, discuss is the verb used in its past tense again, discussed. Now we have adverb. Adverb is something which adds to the meaning of an adjective, a verb, or another adverb, right? It has different meanings and functions, and it's especially important for denoting time, manner, place, degree, and frequency of something, as given by the Cambridge Dictionary. So it's important to note time, manner, place, degree, and frequency of something is being defined by an adjective, right? It adds to the meaning, is defined by an adverb. It adds to the meaning of an adjective, a verb, or another adverb. So here, you'll finish the lecture soon. So soon indicates the time, right? When would the lecture finish? Soon. She fell off badly. It's not feel there. She fell off badly, right? So it talks about the manner in which she fell. I kept the cake here. So it's talking about the place. Where did you keep the cake? Here, right? Yeah. He was extremely worried about his selection. So he was extremely worried. It adds to the meaning of the verb worried. I can teach you daily. So it talks about the frequency of something. Again, adds to the meaning of teaching. I can teach you daily. Like it talks about the frequency, about how many times, I can teach you. So it's important to note that. By the way, I would like you to note this, the correction in the slide. It's she fell off badly. I shall correct it before giving it to you. I'm sorry. Now we have questions from the examination. It's from GATE examination. I'd like to discuss them with you. We would get to understand which of these words are being used as what in the sentence, right? One night I had a surreal dream. So something is describing my dream, right? The underlined word is. It's obviously not a noun. Surreal cannot be a noun. It's not an interjection. We'll talk about interjection further. Is it an adverb? Does it add to the meaning of the verb? No, I don't think so. It doesn't. Does it add to the meaning of dream? Yes, it does. It does add to the meaning of dream. So I had a surreal dream, which means it is an adjective, right? Yeah, it is an adjective, most definitely. It adds to the meaning of the noun dream, right? The runner ran along the middle of the city. So the runner ran along the meaning of the city. Obviously, ran is the verb, so runner cannot be a verb. It's not an interjection. It is definitely a noun because it talks about who ran along the middle of the city, right? It talks about who ran along the middle of the city. It's the subject, it's the noun. The runner ran along, right? So it's a noun. A vast crowd had gathered to watch their beloved president speak. Vast is describing the noun crowd. Beloved is describing the president, right? Both of these are adjectives as they both describe the noun. Yeah. Stones were used to wet the tools. Stones were used to wet the tools. So the word is a verb. They were used to wet the tools. That is what they were used to do. Right? So we should remember. So we were talking about stones were used to wet the tools, as in stones were used to sharpen the tools. It's obviously a verb here. Next we go to, okay, I beat her in the race to bag the top spot. So here we are talking about beating her in a race to bag the top spot. This is not an adverb, obviously doesn't add to the verb. It isn't a noun, doesn't talk about place, animal, or person or a thing or an idea. No. Does it talk about verb? Yes, of course, both of these are verbs. I beat her in the race to bag the top spot, to get the top spot. Both of these definitely are verbs, as should be noted. Now, if we just look at the words and mark the answer, bag is a noun, it's a thing. But here the bag isn't used as a noun, it's used as a verb, to bag the top spot. So we should remember that. Don't just look at the words, read the complete sentence to answer the questions always. Right? Next, she asked him to calmly think about the issue. So here, think is the verb. She asked him to calmly think. It's adding to the verb, so it's an adverb. The cruise ship was still navigable. Right? Not an adverb, not a noun, not a verb. It is an adjective. It defines how the cruise ship was. It defines the noun. It adds to the meaning of the noun. It is an adjective. The clergymen instilled good values through their sermons. So the clergyman is a class of clergy, it's a noun, and through their sermons, that is through their thoughts, ideas, again, noun. Redundant policies negatively impacted the citizens. Redundant policies, how did they impact the citizens? Negatively. That is, it qualifies the verb impacted. That is, it is an adverb, the first one. So here we have discussed a lot of gate questions also today. I hope the session was good for you. Do let me know what else you want to study. We have a course outline and we would be going according to that. In the next class, I would be discussing nouns in detail. Do practice more questions. Do try to converse in English in your daily life. And we would also be working on our vocabulary from the next class. We would be discussing 5 new words daily so that we add to our vocabulary, and that is really important. Thank you so much. Bye.